Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitya Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivrajapacharya Vasarava Srimad Bhaktisaranga Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON DBT Pandacharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Govapinath Chamakun Radha Kun Giriraj Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham ki jai. Mayapur Navapridham ki jai. Gangamaya ki jai. Yamunamaya ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Transcendental Prasadam Distribution ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtaya ki jai. Fire Protection ki jai. New Govardhana Temple Community ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is called Creation of the Universal Form. Canto 3, chapter 6, and text 6. Hiranmaya sa purushaha. Hiranmaya sa purushaha. Sahasra praivatsaram. Sahasra praivatsaram. Andakosha uvasapsu. Andakosha uvasapsu. Sarva Satvo Pavamritmataha. Sarva Satvo Pavamritmataha. Hiranmaya sa purushaha. Hiranmaya sa purushaha. Sahasra Parivatsaram. Sahasra Parivatsaram. Andrakosha uvasapsu. Andrakosha uvasapsu. Sarva Satvo Pavamritaha. Sarva Satvo Pavamritaha. Hiranmaya sa purushaha. Hiranmaya sa purushaha. Sahasra Parivatsaram. Sahasra Parivatsaram. Andakosha uvasapsu. Andakosha uvasapsu. Sarva Satvo Pavamritaha. Sarva Satvo Pavamritaha. Hiranmayaha. The Garbhodayakshayi Vishnu, who also assumes a Virat Rupa. Purushaha, incarnation of Godhead. Sahasra, 1,000. Parivatsaram, celestial years. Andakoshe, within the global universe. Uvasha, resided. Apsu, on the water. Sarvasattva, all living entities, lying with him. Upamritaha, so spread. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1,000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all the living entities lay with him. Please repeat. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1,000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all the living entities lay with him. Purport. After the Lord entered each and every universe as the Garbhodayaka Shai Vishnu, half of the universe was filled with water. The cosmic manifestation of the planetary systems, outer space, etc., which are visible to us, is only half of the complete universe. Before the manifestation takes place, and after the entrance of Vishnu within the universe, there is a period of 1,000 celestial years. All the living entities injected within the womb of the Mahat Tattva are divided in all universes with the incarnation of Garbhodayaka Shai Vishnu. And all of them lie down with the Lord until Brahma is born. Brahma is the first living being within the universe, and from him all other demigods and living creatures are born. Manu is the original father of mankind. And therefore, in Sanskrit, mankind is called Manushya. Humanity in different bodily qualities is distributed throughout the various planetary systems. I read the verse again. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1,000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all of the living entities lay with him. So, it's continuing the creation of the universe to form. It is a gradual manifestation, as the previous chapters also explaining the manifestation of Mahatattva, the entire total energies, material energies of the Lord. It is also known as Prakriti. There's a gradual manifestation of these. First of all, the 24 elements, primarily the Mahabhuta elements, the 5 gross elements, Agni, Bhumi, Vayu, water, prana, these 5 elements, and then the subtle elements, the senses. So altogether, 24 elements. So these are the preparation before the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifest in his Vishwarupa form. And this is a very significant point here, philosophical point. It's difficult to understand unless we actually study the Bhagavad Gita properly. The position of the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he manifested his Vishwarupa form to Arjuna, Arjuna was himself perplexed. This is not the form I want to see, dear Krishna. I want to see you, the real you. Of course, Krishna has a purpose and he has a master plan. Just like building a physical structure, a building. There are plans, and then manifestations of that plan. There's a construction plan. There's a foundation, and then everything comes after that. When everything is ready, the occupants can move in. So the Mahabhuta is one of the foundation. And then all the elements, the subtle elements, mind, ego, intellect, all these subtleties manifesting. Altogether, 24. Actually, there is more, 25, because the time element comes in also eventually, time element. So Krishna, the supreme architect of this entire cosmic manifestation, gradually plans through his transcendental manasa meditation. This whole universe is planned beforehand and gradually takes place in a very gradual way. When it comes to the point of actual activation of this universe, Krishna himself, in the form of Vishvarupa, which is an impersonal manifestation, unlimited forms of the Lord, activates the universe in the form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and spreads all these forms, all these personalities, plenary portions, spread in the entire cosmic manifestation. Cosmic manifestation, as we all know, is only 1/4 of the creation of the entire creation of Krishna. Material world is just a dark corner in the material world, like a dark cloud. The rest is illuminated with knowledge, devotion to, and knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the material world, we have the option, given the option of forgetfulness. Therefore, it is just another section where living entities who are rebellious tucked away for the time being. But Krishna never forgets the living entities. He comes time to time and reminding us of our original Nitya Swarupa through the agencies of the demigods, the great avatars, Yuga avatars, Lila avatars, Purusha avatars. All these great personalities come to uplift the fallen jivas out of this material world. The material world is one of Krishna's potencies, energies. It comes from spiritual touch. Material energy without the spiritual touch has no substance, no life force, just like our physiological makeup. It's depending on the soul's presence, the life force energy. The transcendental jiva is activating. Without this, we cannot have symptoms of life, symptoms of consciousness. So similarly, in the macro scale of the universal creation, Vishwarupa, it comes and becomes the soul of this universe. Of course, the monists and the impersonalists, they pick on this. God is just an impersonal phenomena, and if he has any form, it comes from there, from that impersonal realm. No, it's the other way around. Krishna is the original, primeval, the original, Ishvaraha, Paramaha, Krishnaha, Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govindaha, Sarva Karana Karanam, Kara Karanam, cause of all causes. So he's the cause of all causes. Everything comes from him. He's the ultimate planner. He has a master plan. So all living entities fit into these categories. And as we're reading the previous chapters, how the Mahatattva appeared and how all the various elements are appearing gradually, and now the creation of the universal form, everything is getting ready for the living entities actually take place here. But even before that, there's 1,000 years, celestial years, where the living entities, as Srila Prabhupada also says in the purport, that lay in a cosmic, along with Lord Vishnu himself, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, in a dormant state. So the living entities remain dormant, waiting for the actual signal from the Lord when everything is ready. Just like no one can move into a house until everything is finalized, everything is approved, everything is there, then you can move in. You get the key and you can move in. So Krishna has a gradual manifestation of this universe. There's a very simple way to explain it. It takes time to realize this, takes time to study. Always goes back to the basics, the fundamentals, that Krishna is the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything emanates from him. So Krishna is the ultimate cause of everything, and he has a plan. So as the universe takes place, the first created being, Lord Brahma, appears. And gradually the Prajapatis, and through his meditation, through his manasa, Swayambhuva Manu appeared, the first Manu. And Manu had 9 daughters. Manu had actually married to celestial being, Shatarupa. His wife was Shatarupa. And they had 3 daughters. And one was Devauti. So it's a famous, if you read the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in this Devauti, who later on given in marriage to Kapiladev. Kadamuni. Kapila was a son, yes. Kadamuni. So Kadamuni was another Prajapati. He became a great Rishi Muni, powerful yogi, and he accepted Devauti because of exalted qualities. Exalted qualities. And throughout the Shastras, throughout the scriptures, the qualities of motherhood and the feminine qualities are glorified, and Devauti is one of the exemplary personality. She was such a devoted wife of Kardama. Of course, Kardama himself was a great, exalted personality, great devotee of Lord Krishna. He accepted her, and as we read the story later on, Kapila Dev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared, and Kapila Dev explained the Sankhya philosophy, the actual, real Sankhya philosophy. There's another Kapila, is a pseudo Kapila, who had an interpretation. He was not actually an avatar, pseudo. So there's always a distinction. Srila Prabhupada often brings it to attention that actually there's the real Kapila, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there's a pseudo who was misleading the students of Vedic studies. So gradually the universal creation, the Vishvarupa, comes in, and as we read further on, there's more and more explanation step by step. You see, just like Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, the Archa Vigraha, the worshipable deity in the temple. Goes into this one. Just like Srila Prabhupada explains in the previous verses and purports, that the Vishvarupa appears temporarily. It's a temporary manifestation of the Supreme Lord for a particular purpose. Although touched by the material atmosphere, it still remains transcendental. See, so in one sense, it's an eternal manifestation, but not fully. So Krishna comes for this particular purpose. So the begin the universal affairs, and the great personalities like Brahmaji and all other personalities coming out of him populate, the Prajapatis populate this entire universal creation. Interesting about Manusya, which is a Sanskrit reference for mankind. And Srila Prabhupada explains here in the last sentence, humanity in different bodily qualities is distributed throughout the various planetary systems. So there are many human forms, human species, and the different categories, different capacities, and different gunas. Obviously, when we speak about demigods, in the mode of goodness, sattva, and human beings, and you can see in our middle planetary system, we have this very strong influence of Raja Guna, and obviously there are lower regions, but generally, Manushaya means civilized human beings. So there are guidelines for civilized human beings. So there's a Shastra called Manu Samhita, which is like a law book of mankind, giving us all the principles and moral principles and scriptural guidelines about the criteria of civilization. What is civilized? So this is it. Manu Samhita is a famous kind of treatise of Lord Manu himself. And then the civilized human beings pick on this. This is the actual law book of mankind. It's difficult to understand everything properly because we're living in a yuga which is very much dominated by Raja and Tama. Manu Samhita refers to all civilized human beings throughout the universe, not just for the earthly plane. So there are some criteria. It's all based on actual awareness and God consciousness. So you can see Manu Samhita was not just a law book, but was based on God conscious principles. Which can be studied, but has to be understood under guidance because it can be misunderstood. Many things not exactly relevant for this particular time of Kali Yuga. Therefore, we receive knowledge through the parampara, Shri Parampara, through our teachers, through our spiritual masters, how to understand these complexities of Vedic knowledge. Especially when it comes to a creation, it's a very technical subject matter. Difficult for us to fully comprehend. We're trying to simplify it, how it can happen, and who Krishna is inconceivable for us, and what he can do is inconceivable. We're trying to explain something higher dimensional concepts here, a transcendental dimension, how this whole universe on a micro scale and a macro scale manifesting. Of course, modern scientists, they're having a very partial and incomplete understanding how the universe takes place. And they don't have an access or even understanding of Vedic information. And if they do have some access, they take it as a unscientific or irrational in their perspective. But we understand that God is omnipotent, all-powerful. He is inconceivably powerful, and he can manifest many different dimensions, and he has a plan. And we understand the plan, we understand everything. So living entities coming here to experience a different reality, a rebellious living entities. So we implicated in a cause and effect, which is very painful for the living entities, but some or other, by the mercy of great teachers, and not to speak of the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita, the living entities get a chance, an opportunity to be reminded that actually there is a supreme original abode, and we all have a loving relationship with the Supreme, and this is a foreign land, so we have to rediscover. See, understand things. Just like I came from a foreign land, my physical karma, kshetra. Coming from a European country, I live here day to day and I completely forget what's happening over there. Until my brother sends me a message and explains what's happening. Immediately, wow, this is my home. I'm reminded. So Srila Prabhupada and the great Mahabhagavata teachers reminding us, actually, we have a beautiful home. We just have to hear about it. Otherwise, we're living in forgetfulness. And we know there's a home. We feel that. That's why we came to Krishna consciousness. We are attracted. We are attracted. We are attracted to Krishna. Krishna is reminding us. So we have the opportunity in the association of devotees to constantly hear, chant the glories of the Lord, and feel those emotions, feel those love and the eagerness to love Krishna. So, but to come to that point, we have to understand the science, and also we have to understanding how the creation takes place. This is not a sentimental thing. God consciousness is not a sentimental thing. It's actually very scientific, step by step, and rational. As we study Srimad Bhagavatam, as we hear from the spiritual master, the various and different levels of realizations of devotees, we can have some comprehension at least. And as we advance in spiritual life, we have better perception also. We can actually touch these teachings. Somehow we can feel that this is not just some fantasy of the Vedas, some kind of mythological stories, how the creation takes place, and this manifests, that manifests. No, this is actually very systematic, gradual. And there's more than just a cosmic intelligence here. So Vishvarupa is also the cosmic intelligence. And some impersonalists say, they say that there's only one consciousness. But actually that is only true when the living entities agree with the Supreme Consciousness. When we actually realizing our position and we understand our Nitya Swarupa, when we actually have that loving devotion to Krishna, in that sense, yes. Otherwise, no. We are living entities, we are fragmental parts and parcels, and our consciousness at this stage, at this point in time, polluted by the material atmosphere. Since the elements manifested, the Mahatattva was agitated by the glance of the Supreme Lord, and the three gunas appearing, Raja, Tama, Sattva, and gradually the elements are manifesting. And from the elements further to the subtle elements, the senses, and then when everything's set up, Vishvarupa, the actual, saying it in simple language, the soul of the universe, Garbhodayaksha Vishnu, all there, coming and activates and ignites the activities of the material world. The living entities come out of their dormant state. So we have an original relationship with the Supreme, but we've been here long time. So obviously we living entities go through a long time. Some stay in the Brahma Jyoti for a while, and in a dormant state. So, and as we know, one kalpa, which is 1,000 Chaturyugas, a day of Brahma. So the current Manu, Vaivashvata Manu, who is actually the current Manu out of the 14 Manu in one kalpa. So we can see from this description that the cosmic time is so lengthy that we can't trace where we come from, where, when. But Srila Prabhupada confirms it, that actually the living entities have a relationship We've just been here a long, long time. We actually have a relationship with Krishna, a loving relationship. We are persons. So it has to be a personal relationship. We're not just impersonal phenomena. We actually living entities with a desire to love, having a loving relationship with the Supreme Being. And we may go through different changes, evolutions in the cosmic manifestation, sometimes in the dormant state, just before the cosmic manifestation, and also after the cosmic devastation. There are stages where the living entities become more dormant, like Srila Prabhupada says, lay down with Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Garbhodayaksha Vishnu. So, and the living entities, again, according to their desire and their qualities that they want to experience, they take place in different universes, different places in the universe. Obviously, living entities which are very much influenced by the idea of Raja, Tama, they take place in certain areas. But this is also a gradual thing, cause and effect, which is propelled by the desires of living entities. And why we have these desires, like back to the original fundamental mistake of the living entities, is that our consciousness now polluted by the material atmosphere. So we're just creating more problems, cause and effect, until Krishna himself, some form, gives us an opportunity. Here's the process of Krishna consciousness. And we are very, very fortunate. We all feel that Srila Prabhupada gave us invaluable knowledge, information. Eternally grateful to Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva, all the great personalities. Great personalities, they're coming here to help us, enlightening us. Although the creation is a very complex thing, very difficult for us to fully understand these things. But Srila Prabhupada is so kind, if you see his purports, he simplifies things for us to understand how it can happen, how it happened. But of course, to understand these things is very difficult unless we are very, very pure in our perception. Just like in mathematics, we study different dimensions. We 3-dimension, 2-dimension, 3-dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension. Mathematicians can understand that they're actually higher dimensions, but we cannot perceive them. We cannot perceive these dimensions. Similarly, transcendental dimension cannot be perceived by ordinary sense perception. We can only perceive it with our loving devotion, with our feeling, with our connection with Krishna, with humble devotion service. And when we have this, many things become simple. When we love Krishna, everything becomes simple. Just sweet and simple. If we don't have that love or connection with Krishna consciousness, then everything is very complicated. That's why whole modern science is so complex and really doesn't give actual solutions. And they come to the wrong conclusions. And modern science is very much tinged with Mayavada. We all know Mayavada, the impersonal theories and very vague concepts. So they cannot really pin down that actually there's a source, there's a cause of all causes here. There's actually a cause, there's an ultimate personality here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore they come to the wrong conclusion. And when they read about the Vishvarupa, they're very glad, this is just an impersonal form. No, Vishvarupa comes from the Supreme Narayan, Supreme Krishna. So that's what they don't understand. A Vaishnava, a devotee, a sincere student of Vaishnava Siddhanta can understand that Krishna is the cause of all causes, and all these manifestations gradually come from him to facilitate the living entities in the material world and to teach them, to help them to realize that this is a very foreign environment here. This is not our place to be. And we cannot imitate the Purusha. We are all Prakriti. We are feminine by nature. We are loving servants of Krishna, loving devotees of Krishna. We just have to realize that. And that takes time. This is the process Srila Prabhupada gave us, very beautiful process. We can realize Krishna in so many forms, in a loving way, dressing Radha Govardhan, offering prayers from the heart, worshipping Tulsi Devi, Vrinda Devi, understanding pastimes. Archa Vigraha is not just dressing. It's actually a meditation for the body. Beautiful pastimes here. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, every morning. It's if you have the right consciousness, a very deep meditation here. Vraja Mandal, Giriraj Govardhan. So this is the meditation of a devotee. Very simple, pure. On the other hand, people don't have these feelings. They, like I said earlier, they're very complex. Everything is very difficult. Trying to understand the cause of all causes. Honestly, the residents of Rajabhumi don't even care. What's the cause of this universe or whatever? They just love Krishna, just go crazy for Krishna. So this is a very high ideal, of course, and we have to know. This is our desire. We want to get there to Rajabhumi. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave us the highest, the mercy of Rajabhumi, and the mood of the Vrajavasis. So we can develop these things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the only manifestation of Krishna directly who actually gives this. All the other avatars, the Yuga avatar, Lila avatar, they expressing themselves in ashraya form, Vaikuntha forms. But when it comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his mercy, Nityananda Chaitanya, by their mercy, we have an access. So every morning we have this contemplation, meditation. So the pujaris have to be very pure in consciousness, cannot be complacent. Srila Prabhupada warned the devotees. We're dealing with Krishna directly. So we're dealing with the Lord, we're cooking for the Lord. It's not just some service for the sake of duty. No, this is a very serious thing here. We're dealing with the Lord directly. We have to be very sensitive what Krishna likes, what Krishna doesn't like. We have to meditate on these beautiful pastimes, pray to the Lord, and the deities, the presiding deities in New Govardhana happy, and then we all get the blessings. All the devotees get the blessings. We all make advancement in spiritual life. So Krishna is here with us. He's so kind. By the invitation of the great Mahabhagavatas, and the Lord agreed to come. Giriraj is here. Every day we have the opportunity to have darshan of their lotus feet, the beautiful dresses. What a meditation we have. Let the scientists think about whatever. They think about Krishna's lotus feet. The beautiful Mahasandashis, Burfis. This is the real experience of love and sweetness of Krishna consciousness, even for us, sadhakas. And not to speak of the resident of Rajabhumi, the sweetness they feel. They don't care for sciences and universal forms. They just want to love Krishna. So, okay, this is a very exalted platform, so we go humbly, step by step. Cannot be imitated. Srila Prabhupada warns always in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Krishna book, in the Bhagavatam, these exalted stages cannot be imitated. We cannot become sahajas. So we have to be very careful. At the same time, the other extreme, when we don't understand the science of Krishna consciousness, for example, we don't have an understanding how the universe takes place, the creation, that can be also risky because we can get carried away with Mayavada. So the body has to be intelligent. We have to understand the science and gradually work towards developing that prema, that loving, which is a true objective, the true goal of this human form of life. We've been waiting for this a long time, many lifetimes to come to this point, sitting here in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, together and chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. That is something. Every day I get a bit of a moment of realization, just how fortunate we are. Even just for a moment, I realize, how fortunate we are surrounded with so much mercy and blessings, and the devotees around us, very beautiful devotees. Regardless of the advancement, that's okay. We are here to love Krishna. We're here to love Krishna, and this is our good fortune. Any questions? Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you very much for the lecture.
Yes.
It is a very interesting topic, creation of the universe.
Yes.
I actually have 3 questions, if that's okay. First question, when was time created? Second question, is universe still expanding?
Okay, very good.
And third question, is Earth flat?
Okay. Okay. So start with the time. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita explains that time is time I am. See? So time has no beginning and end. It's Krishna himself. So this phenomenon, what we're trying to rationalize, time is actually is actually God's kind of the way He creates this. The time is there automatically because He's not different from time. See, He says in the Bhagavad Gita, "Time I am the destroyer of all created or non-created beings." See, so ultimately, Krishna. This is another manifestation of Krishna. Time. See. So the living entities in the material world subjected to time factor, because ultimately we design in a way that we have an experience here very temporary. It appears to be having a beginning, an end, a beginning and end cycles, but actually the living entity has no beginning and end. We are primeval. So time factor is actually God himself, Krishna himself. And the second question is, yes, as in the previous, if you actually were here for the classes before, Srila Prabhupada explains that just because of Vishwarupa, Garbhodayaksha Vishnu and the Vishnu forms, the universe actually have a substance, a life force. It can expand, yes, expand. Otherwise, matter is just the side effect of spiritual energy. It's not actually, it's lifeless. It's just an energy. And the jiva, or the supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme living entity, supreme living being, Krishna himself, enters the universe, either in the form of Garbhodayaksha Vishnu or Kishodayaksha Vishnu within the heart of the living entities. And then everything takes place. The symptoms of life, expansions, time factor comes in right away. See? So there is expansion in that sense. But it's not always the case. It's up to the Krishna's supreme plan. But even scientifically can be explained as expansion, and sometimes, even on a molecule, atomic scale, see, there's expansion. So the universe is obviously governed by certain principles. And the Earth is flat. This is a very interesting topic nowadays, as we know. But in my understanding, I mean, I'm not an expert on Vedic cosmology, is that we have the great Bhur Mandala Bhumi, the flat plane of the universe. See, a universe is called Brahmanda, egg shape. And if you have this flat plane, like a mandala layout, see, looks like a lotus flower, and the center is Mount Meru, which is the axis of the universe. So, in that sense, in a Vedic way, in a mathematical way, it's a flat concept. And the dvipas, because obviously we have Mount Meru, and there's a hurl, that's called Jambudvip, and the tiny section of Jambudvip is Bharatvash, and Bharatvash has 9 islands. And one of the islands is Mother, what we call Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth. And even Mother Earth has many, many Sanskrit names. There's actually descriptions in Shastras about the names of these. They call it dvipas because we, in a cosmic environment, like even the planet, you see, in the ocean of ether, see? Ocean of. So some argue that even the earth is flat. I mean, these are difficult to understand. I mean, it's not so obvious. Because like I said, we talk about higher dimensions also. What we can perceive, it's only 3-dimensional. See? So this is when the scientists, they kind of come to wrong conclusions. So the Earth may appear to be flat, appear to be a globe also, because we don't understand exactly how it works. We don't have the perception of it. Therefore, we hear the simple conclusions of the Shastras. We don't speculate. Honestly, I don't know, because I can't see. I'm not. And to understand this, like I said earlier, we have to have a very pure perception. We cannot really fully understand many things. And but there's a lot of things going on, see? But that's all relative. All the, you can see all these claims of the flat earth, but it's all relative, not always the case. And even with our eyes, we constantly suffer from optical illusions. We don't realize it. It's not exactly how it is. So we don't know. But to claim this is globe or flat, and it's a bit of a brave statement, see. In Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami put Surya Siddhanta together. He never talks about the flat. He explains the planets are dvipas, and Srila Prabhupada calls it dvipas also. And they may take different shapes also. For example, Brahma Loka is on the top of Mount Meru. See? So what we call a planet, we don't always have the understanding. And as you're coming down from Mount Meru, you have all the different devas, Indra Loka, Indraprasthra, coming down. And if you see Brahma Loka, Brahma city, there's 4 rivers coming down. One is the Ganges, one in all universal directions, you see. Ganga Devi, coming down to Dhruva Loka. Sorry. Dhruva Loka is in the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. It's in the material world, but it's not in the material world also. So Shivaji is holding the Ganga flow, and it pours down eventually to Brahmaloka, and all the 4 rivers coming down, 4 major rivers, touching Jambudvip and Bharatavash also coming down to purify the whole universe. So Ganga Devi is one of the major. Actually, Ganga Devi is very, very important in understanding. So, answering your question, I would say difficult to understand because the multidimensional concepts here, and what we see, what is a planet, what we can see, we have limitations. And modern scientists are already agreeing that we can't even see the sky. They haven't even scan the sky a third of it either. There are trillions of planets everywhere, stars and moons and suns, but every universe has one sun, and the sun is moving above us, not we moving around the sun. So there's some truth in the flat Earth concept too, but that's because we are in the Mandala Bhumi, the flat plane of the lotus mandala of the universe, and they're all consisting all the different planetary systems, 14 middle planetary systems, the lower planetary systems. They're all different dimensions, obviously, and there are theories on this. Very beautiful books on this. Sadaputta Prabhu, you know Sadaputta. They wrote quite a few, but even he has many different, I would say, theories. So it's not so conclusive. Difficult to come to a conclusive answer. What is it? But the Vedas are saying things, but we don't always perceive it properly because it's something that you really have to be, almost like a deva to fully understand how the universe takes place here. But what we understand, what we hear from our spiritual master, the simplistic way of how the creation takes place. Obviously, we may not be able to understand every detail, but this is how it works. And this is what I can say to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.